What's up, good people? So very rarely do I, sit in front of a camera and kind of speak out my thoughts, but I felt like it was very necessary. Just really wanted to be a little bit more personal, and give a little bit more information and context around the book that I recently announced. So recently, I announced that I self-published my first book, which is entitled "Thoughts of an Anxious Black Man: Reflections on Healing, Faith, and Freedom." You all have been overwhelmingly supportive. I've seen so many congratulatory messages, as well as I'm proud of yous, a lot of reposts on social media, and it all means the world to me. I really appreciate the support. Y'all have elevated the book for me, and really just kind of helped spread the word, and also really just give me a great vote of confidence as we're about a week out from the release date. Again, I really appreciate it. This book has been about 2 years in the making, and it's honestly the most purposeful thing I've ever done in my life. So, what I wanted to do was, answer a couple questions that I've been getting on Instagram and Facebook. Just general information about the book. I just wanted to kind of give you all a little bit more detail. So, first question, what made you want to write the book? So, Thoughts of an Anxious Black Man. As you all can imagine, this book is centered around anxiety and mental health in Black men. And why that's important to me is about 10 years ago, almost to the date, I was diagnosed with anxiety. Generalized anxiety disorder is what I was diagnosed with. And during that time frame, it was just a very scary time. And anxiety, really turned my life upside down. I wasn't really familiar with what it was. The symptoms that I was experiencing felt very physical. So I felt like something physically was wrong with me at the time. I didn't really feel like I had anyone that I could talk to about it. I don't remember, really any mental health discussions growing up. None of the men in my family, really spoke out about, anxiety or any type of mental health issue. So, what I was dealing with was very new, and, didn't really have a reference point. So, this book for me, it is a reference point. I'm not a mental health professional, so it is not meant to diagnose anyone or fix anyone. What it is meant to, really start a conversation. A conversation as well as a guide and almost like a mirror that you can hold up to yourself and really analyze your own anxiety and mental health as a Black man. I feel like it's really important that we as Black men do that analysis and really search for healing. So it also is it's an invitation to heal. Also, it is a play on me being an overthinker. My anxiety causes me to be a severe overthinker. There's a million thoughts that run through my head on a daily basis. So Thoughts of an Anxious Black Man is really kind of a play on that as well. Next question, who is this book for? Of course, this book is for Black men. As I stated, I want this to be a conversation starter, a mirror, a guide, a reference point for Black men when it comes to their mental health and anxiety. But this is also for anyone who loves a Black man. So whether you're a mother, a sister, a daughter, a significant other, or someone who just wants to understand Black men better, this book gives a lot of insight just about what we deal with as Black men on a daily basis. Everything from the burden of expectations, the generational baggage, the pressure that we put on ourselves, how anxiety can show up in our relationships. A lot of this information may be uncovered just because as Black men, we don't really speak out a lot about it. I think we're at a point in time where those discussions are, being a little bit more common. But I wanted to detail a lot of that information in this book so that if you are someone who just wants to understand Black men better, this can also be a reference point for you.